Elizabeth Banks has a wide variety range and she does a lot of different things in movies, and this film, Skincare, was a thriller film that really had me intrigued to check this film out. Ultimately, it's not really getting talked about a lot and it hasn't had a lot of advertisement. So is it really worth your time to check out in a theater? Well, stick around and let's talk about it. Famed esthetician Hope Goldman's skincare business faces sabotage when rival Angel Vergara opens a boutique across the street. Aided by friend Jordan, Hope seeks to uncover who's trying to ruin her reputation. The film stars Elizabeth Banks, Pullman, Gerardo Méndez, Michaela Jaé Rodriguez, and Nathan Fillion, and was directed by Austin Peters, and I've never seen any of his previous works. So I did see a trailer for Skincare. I think I only saw the trailer maybe once for this film. It really wasn't advertised that much. I saw that Elizabeth Banks was in this film, and I was like, I'll definitely check it out. We start off with this film, and it tells you that this story is inspired by true events. We have a character named Hope, played by Elizabeth Banks. She is an esthetician, and she's very successful in Hollywood. She is interviewing for this daytime show in which she's going to introduce her new skincare products. We then flash forward to her working at her boutique. She has an assistant played by Michaela Jaé Rodriguez. She goes by MJ, and she is there just helping her out with appointments and such. We see her doing different skincare treatments, and she seems to be very successful, and she's really just living pretty well. We then see someone that actually moves across from her named Angel, who has the same type of business, and she really starts to get very uneasy at the fact that that actually happens. And a little bit later, we then see that her email has been hacked. Someone has emailed every single one of her contacts and said that she's in debt and she needs money, and they also have her being advertised for having sex, in which she's trying to track down this person that actually did this. Now, throughout this movie, we have Hope really just trying to track this down in a mystery fashion. It's like a thriller type of film. The way the film was shot, I thought that it was consistent for the most part. There wasn't really anything crazy with the shot composition. I think overall, it looked well on screen, but there was nothing I can say that I could write home about any cinematography or anything like that. The music I thought was occasionally really working for the film, but then again, the tone of the film is very much inconsistent and all over the place because it ranges from a thriller to a dark satire. There's a character, obviously, that is going after her and hacking her emails and everything. And this person, their background didn't really make a whole lot of sense. I didn't really think that the motivation that they gave for this character, which they don't really give us motivation as to why this person is doing it, it just didn't make sense whatsoever, and it was very easy to figure out who it was because there's not a lot of characters in this film, which is also a problem as well. There is another character, obviously Angel, who obviously moves across from her, and he's doing the same business, and he's barely in the film, and she focused so much on this character, and there's never any development of his character, which is another problem with this film as well, as a lot of the characters, they're not very much developed. Although a lot of this film is in Hope's perspective, Elizabeth Banks' character, even though she's this successful type of business owner, we never really get an instance as to how she became successful. We never really get much of her story as to how she actually becomes successful, and a lot of times her character is very much all over the place. She'll be like a damsel in distress, and then other times she's smarter than she is. There was one scene where she obviously had her daytime show actually kicked off the air because obviously these rumors started coming out, and she had obviously this email being hacked, so the daytime show didn't want anything to do with her. So she has this guy that is from the show, and he says, hey, if you give me a blowjob, I will definitely let you go on to the show again. And then she apparently records it, and then she's like, oh crap, I accidentally recorded that. And then they just cut the scene, and I was like, what is her character trying to do here? Is she this tough character that really is just level-headed and she's going to get this guy? And then the way that they play out the scene, it's like she's just like fumbling around and just like, oops, I didn't mean to actually record that. To me, there was no real stakes or tension. There is a scene where all her tires have been slashed and she gets really upset by this. And we think that she's going to go out and she's going to find out who did this. But then she stops at this mechanic shop. She knows this guy named Armin. He gives her all these tires for free. I guess he's in love with her. We never really get too much explored with that. that or how she really knows him. We do see him have an interesting fate as the film goes along, but again, his character's not really developed. A lot of these characters just introduced very quickly. We get like little brief scenes and brief moments with the characters, but then we really don't get a lot of development with them. And then, as I said, a lot of times this is with Hope a lot of times, so her character just doesn't seem very interesting and doesn't seem very consistent as well. There's also themes of sexism and misogyny here, and it's great that they introduce that kind of thing, but if you're going to actually introduce that, actually do something with it, and they do nothing really with it. And by the time the hour mark comes in and we actually get the reveal as to what is actually going on, the last 30 minutes of this film is an absolute mess. And unfortunately, this film, from a concept perspective, it really could have worked, but I think overall, from an interesting perspective of like a story, it just doesn't really capture me overall, and I just thought it was a meh film overall. So as far as a score for this film, I would give it a 2 out of 5. I wish I could give it a higher score. I definitely was interested in a premise like this, but I just think tonally and just how the film really develops, characters that I didn't really care about, and the main character just not doing a very good job with her character and making her very tonally inconsistent and really not sticking with a story that we can really get behind, and just having her character really be all over the place. It was just a mess for me overall. So have you guys seen Skincare? If you have seen it, did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And if you haven't checked it out, are you going to check it out when it comes to VOD or streaming? Leave any and all comments down below. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you guys next time.